What if one of Disney's most controversial theme parks quietly became one of the best? Disney California Adventure started life as the other park next to Disneyland, a place fans once loved to complain about. Today, it's the home of some of the resort's wildest thrills, most stunning views, and immersive lands. In this video, we'll explore Disney California Adventure through a mix of on-the-ground footage, photos, and graphics that highlight its most iconic spots. From the teal entrance gates to the towering Ferris wheel, from the high-speed launches to quiet corners under the monorail. You'll see how this park went from a shaky experiment to a genuine headliner, and you'll pick up details to look for on your own visit. The story starts outside the gates on a cool California morning. On screen, a small crowd gathers under the sleek Art Deco entrance, flags snapping in the blue sky while scooters and strollers roll toward the turnstiles. It looks like a chill start to a fun day, but this entrance once led to one of Disney's biggest misfires. Disney California Adventure opened on February 8, 2001, built on what had been Disneyland's vast surface parking lot. The original pitch was clever. Instead of driving all over the state, tourists could walk through a stylized Best of California in one park. Wine country, Hollywood, and seaside boardwalks all side by side. The problem was that early guests didn't think it felt very Disney. Reviews hit the park for having too few attractions for kids and too many generic rides and shops, and attendance came in well below expectations. For a few years, those pretty teal gates were the front door to a park many visitors felt they could skip. Disney's fix was massive. More than $1 billion spent essentially rebuilding the park from the inside out. The tongue-in-cheek modern California theme gave way to richly detailed lands based on specific eras and stories. Buena Vista Street echoing Los Angeles in the 1920s, Cars Land's Route 66 Desert, and the waterfront transformed into Pixar Pier. One of the best ways to see that change is from above. In the high-angle shots you're seeing now, the camera looks out over Paradise Bay. Red coaster track looping around the water, colorful buildings lining the shore, and the jagged rockwork of Cars Land in the distance. Today, the park covers roughly 72 acres and now draws millions of guests each year as a full-on companion to Disneyland, not just a half-day add-on. Down at water level, the visual shift to the reimagined Pixar Pier. Bright flowers fill the foreground while a classic amusement park skyline rises behind them. A giant Mickey-faced wheel, white lattice coaster track, and whimsical boardwalk architecture. When the park opened, this was Paradise Pier, meant to honor old California seaside parks. In 2018, Disney rebuilt it as Pixar Pier, giving the whole area stories centered on Pixar characters. The re-theme went deeper than a new sign. The main coaster became the Incredicoaster. The Ferris wheel turned into the Pixar Pal-A-Round, and the Midway games, shops, and eateries were all redone with films like Toy Story, Inside Out, and The Incredibles in mind. That's why the images on screen show such a tight color palette, bold reds, blues, and yellows, and so many Pixar details packed into a classic boardwalk setting. Now focus on the bright red coaster trains loading in the station, guests pulling down over-the-shoulder restraint as a cast member in red and black Incredibles colors gives final instructions. That's the Incredicoaster, a launched steel roller coaster and the fastest attraction at the entire Disneyland Resort, topping out around 55 miles an hour. The ride stretches along roughly 6,072 feet of track, about 1.15 miles, making it one of the longest steel coasters in the world, and easily the longest at Disneyland Resort. Riders are rocketed from 0 to about 55 miles an hour in just a few seconds, dive down a 108-foot drop, and blast through a single inversion, all hidden inside supports designed to mimic an old wooden roller coaster silhouette. Throughout the layout, tunnels and show scenes tell the story of the Parr family chasing baby Jack-Jack, whose chaotic powers keep hijacking the ride. From across the lagoon, the coaster dominates the skyline in these shots. Its red track curling behind the Ferris wheel and over the water. It's the kind of visual that has become shorthand for Disney California Adventure itself. The other icon in nearly every lagoon shot is the huge wheel. It debuted in 2001 as the Sun Wheel, was later renamed Mickey's Fun Wheel, and today operates as Pixar Pal-A-Round. The structure stands about 150 feet tall and is modeled after the famous Wonder Wheel at Coney Island, featuring both fixed and sliding gondolas. A close-up from ground level shows the intricate teal supports and the golden sunburst at the center, with color-coded cabins circling overhead labeled for Pixar Pier. Each enclosed gondola carries different Pixar characters, from Wall-E and Eve to the inside-out emotions, giving fans a mini scavenger hunt while they wait to board. From inside, high-angle images through the safety mesh reveal the real selling point, the view. Riders can look out across the entire park, over the hotels, and even toward distant mountain ranges on a clear day. Guests who choose the swinging cabins get a more intense experience as the cars slide along interior rails that send them swooping inward and outward, dramatic enough that motion sickness bags are stocked inside each one. Not everything at Disney California Adventure is about speed and height. At one of the quieter corners of the park, you'll see a small vintage-style airplane parked under the elevated monorail track, pine trees and shrubs behind it, a rustic billboard for Grizzly Peak to one side, and an old-fashioned popcorn cart nearby. This is part of the Grizzly Peak Airfield area, themed to mid-20th century California aviation and natural parks. When the park opened, this space was a harsher, more industrial, Condor Flats airstrip. But during the big overhaul, it was softened and folded into the forested Grizzly Peak land to better match the nearby lodge-style hotel. Today it works as a breathing space between major attractions, a place where guests can catch their breath, grab a snack, and watch the monorail glide silently overhead while the chaos of Pixar Pier hums in the distance. Taken together, these scenes, the entrance crowds, sweeping lagoon vistas, towering wheel, high-speed coaster, and the quiet airfield, show a park that has finally figured out who it is. After that expensive multi-year makeover, Disney California Adventure emerged with hit attractions like Radiator Springs Racers, Guardians of the Galaxy, Mission Breakout, and of course, the Incredicoaster and Pixar Pal-A-Round anchoring its skyline. Attendance climbed, fan opinion shifted, and many reviewers now rank it among Disney's most underrated parks, praising its mix of big-budget rides and strong theming. In a way, the park itself mirrors a classic Disney storyline, a risky idea that stumbles, learns from its mistakes, and evolves into something stronger, more confident, and much more beloved. Let's wrap up the main story with a few quick fun facts about Disney California Adventure you can drop on your friends while in line. The park was born in a parking lot. The land Disney California Adventure sits on today used to be Disneyland's 100-acre surface parking lot, famous for its sea of lettered sections like Goofy and Mickey. When the new Mickey and Friends parking structure opened in 2000, it cleared the way for an entirely new park on that asphalt. Incredicoaster has a secret past. Before it became the Incredicoaster, the park's Big Red Coaster opened in 2001 as California Screamin', loosely themed to a classic wooden pier ride with almost no story. The 2018 Pixar re-theme kept the same 6,000 plus feet of track, but added figures, tunnels, and music to turn it into a full Incredibles adventure. The Ferris wheel is basically a remake. Pixar Pal-A-Round isn't just inspired by old seaside rides, it's closely modeled on the Wonder Wheel at Coney Island, right down to the sliding gondola mechanism. That's why some cabins swing wildly along curved tracks while others stay calmly fixed on the rim. Grizzly Peaks hides a giant bear. If you look at the rockwork behind Grizzly River Run from the right angle, the entire mountain forms the profile of a snarling grizzly bear, with the rapids flowing out beneath its chin. The whole land is built around that visual, which ties back to California's state animal and flag. It almost had way more California. Early concepts for the park included ideas like a full-scale replica of the Golden Gate Bridge and a working winery where guests could sample real California wines. Budget cuts and shifting priorities meant many of those ideas never left the drawing board, but traces of that original concept still survive in details around the park. Standing at the edge of Paradise Bay, with a red coaster soaring past and Mickey-faced wheels slowly turning over the water, it's hard to picture Disney California Adventure as the awkward second park it once was. These moments already show a place where Pixar stories, California landscapes, and pure thrill ride engineering all share the same stage. So, when you walk under these teal Art Deco arches on your own trip, ask yourself, what part of this park excites you most? The launch of the Incredicoaster? The stomach-dropping slide of a swinging gondola? or that quiet moment under the monorail where you can hear the wind in the trees? And has Disney California Adventure, once written off as a misstep, quietly become the park you'd be most surprised to fall in love with? Thanks for watching. Comment your Disney California Adventure stories below. What part of the park is your favorite? Subscribe to ClipFetch for more fun stories and facts like this.